So we anticipate that into our kind of our thought process, knowing that what's our final temperature. Some people have to, we had a customer here yesterday that they had to have that thing 165 coming off the grill for their health department. However, we can do that. We want to make sure we get that 165. But we cook so fast, we're going to retain a lot of that moisture. So we have a sandwich that's, yes, it's well done, but it's moist, it's juicy, it's got that hangover, greasy type of feel to it, which you're looking for in a real good burger, is that mouthfeel. So this idea of this pressed sandwich can be done many ways. We can do Rubens, we can do other things. It all depends on what your expectations are of the product that you're putting on. And we customize that, the programming. Either we take your product and put it on the grill, cook it, dial it in, and then you're ready to go, plug it in, put it on the unit, and off you go. So in 2 minutes, you're talking, a little over 2 minutes. With a little medium burger, smashed, as they say. A little bit of touch of pink in there. Good to go. Now, grilled onions, you can do all the grilled onions on there, the mushrooms on there.
Yeah.
Depending what you're looking to achieve and what kind of product you want to put on the table.
Same thing, they'll turn around, for instance, grilled veggies pretty quick too as well.
Yeah, so if you were, I do a lot of paninis, so we think about a grilled veg. So I have a program here I call grilled veg. I call it veg prep.
Hey,
Yeah.
you gotta try it.
What?
Sure.
Yeah. So for example, if we do this like ahead of time, we'll take, vegetables like this.
Hope you're ready for the after show feedback. See now we're doing it.
Yeah.
You literally have to turn it off, which I'm fine.
So we just put a little bit of oil because that's needed. And we don't I don't like to marinate the vegetables beforehand. Because a lot of you might have, depending on what the marinade is, you don't want to have the sugars on there. Because what happens is, the sugar likes to do at low temperature, high temperatures, burn them.
How do you handle the cleaning for food allergies?
Well, there's a couple of approaches. You're either zoning it, it will always be the same, or you say if it's really big issue and you really need 3, you might do 2 and a 1, and one might be the same, it's always there, or whatever you want to do. There isn't a lot of cross-contamination in a way. There is every time you're doing it. It's not 100%, but you can do it. So what we do is we just kind of cut them in a flat uniform. And I'm using
Okay.
I grew up with they come on. Put my house down to the staff and do it. So I make it simple and we just do the demo. So what we do is when those beds come off, they're hot, they're like big sponges. When they come off, then we marinate them as they cool, they just suck up all the flavors together. Plus I'm not throwing, like a lot of made salad dressings, balsamic, all of those stuff have a lot of corn syrup, they got a lot of thickeners, they got a lot of gums, which are all starch-based, carbohydrate-based, and that tends to burn. So if you're gonna want barbecue or other things, maybe it's done as a breast at the end, or like a glaze or something, depending on what you're trying to do. So I have some nice grilled veg on there. I got some nice deer. And then what we do a lot of is we'll shake this up. We'll put some dressing or say like a marinade. I got some fresh herbs right here. And we'll just let those kind of cool. And then this is great for paninis, or even if you're coming off and you do a bunch of them, you do the same kind of like you're thinking of the wing, you're applying that flavor as it comes off the grill. And those are great. We put those on them, they go in the sandwiches today, we set them off. On there, so it's very flavorful. Protein and vegetables.
How does that thing do with making quesadillas?
Quesadillas? You asked quesadillas. How about if I show you? As you can see, even the natural juices from the vegetables.
Yeah,
Start to, yeah. But with the spray.
On my new page. You had all of her breakfast. Oh, yeah. More entertaining. Very nice. Like,
I kind of went all in on it.
Right, so quesadillas.
Yeah, it's I see your little cutie.
almost a year.
So she could, and if you want to say if we wanted to do a veggie quesadilla or put those in the veggie.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna do a plain cheese one.
Yeah, sure.
And if you notice, all I did was change the program. I didn't worry about, and if you see the green lights on there, it's already ready to go because we eliminated that issue of different temperatures for different products. But during the day, or say pre-shift, if you're doing any kind of specialized cooking when there's no demand, heavy demand on service, you can have different temperatures. Like you're searing, or getting stuff ready, and you want to get some prep done, you can change those little parameters, but when you're ready for service, click it in, it'll be up as. So one of the things that you worry about is healthy, is perceived healthy. One of the big things that we use a lot in is oil. You'll always see people throwing oil. Have you seen, other than the vegetables, have you seen any oil from the grill at this point in time? Yeah, so this basic quesadilla, shredded cheese. Now you could have your bacon, you could put bacon, you could have a thin one, which is just cheese, or you could have a filled one, knowing that all your product is prepped for that one thickness. It's always coming out. And once again, what am I doing? I'm talking to you while someone's making a quesadilla. The one thing this is not a flat top grill, it's a double-sided cooking platform. And the one thing is, we hate this. We use it, but one of the things you think about when you're cooking, and you see cooks out of line, they're always trying to do this, chop. What they're doing is trying to speed up the cooking process. Right? I want to make sure that it's evenly cooked. flip it over a little bit, and I want to get a good melt on it. So I'm just going to come down and finish it off, especially when you're on the thicker ones.
So what do you do about it sticking like it did like that? Like,
Yeah, because I had the vegetables on there, I would have put maybe just a touch of oil. If I had seen that, I'd say, oh, I got an issue. I'll scrape it off. I'll just put a little bit of
So do
oil on
you
it.
do just like cooking oil or
Yeah,
like a
just
spray
cooking
or
oil.
something?
You can use Versatility if you want to. You know, if you really want the flavor of butter on your quesadillas, go ahead and use butter. So on the sticking on this one, maybe I'll scrape down, I notice it, I'll make sure that I'll get all that residual off from my up here. I'll just take a towel, a little bit of oil, right in. So I'm back, kind of making sure I get over it. So that's why, you know, like doing veg and all that prep, I'm doing that probably earlier in the day, so I don't have the issues. As you can, I don't know, hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it. Good crisp.
And whatever you decide to put in on it, that's up to you. You decide for cheese, and once again, we would design it based on what you're doing. If you have multiple units, you have a store that's your key account store, which is your primary store. You can program everything there. Once it's done, download it to a USB, send it to the other stores, they download it, and they're running off the same system. Because you can lock it out, because it is password protected. So it's a simple quesadilla done relatively quickly. So there's a lot of possibilities of what you can do. It's really knowing what you want to do and how we can customize the programming to what you're looking for in terms of finished product, flavor profile, cook temp.
Could you, one of their best sellers is breakfast sandwiches. Could you demonstrate the breakfast sandwich on the Texas toast?
Sure. So we're gonna do breakfast sandwich with cheese, and we're gonna do bacon and eggs. Okay. So I have a program called breakfast sandwich with cheese. On this side, I'm gonna switch over to what I call egg over easy. Pre-buttered, like I said earlier, I have that part of my normal prep done. And it's going to come down, it's going to press and start giving that bread a crust. Veggies, which I find works best here. Nice bed of veg wings. One egg, and I'm coming down over it. How many cooks have time to go wash their hands in the middle of a dish?
Yeah, that's good.
Right?
You can use it as a ring if you're ready.
So I got a nice little top crust on the bread, so it gives it that toast effect. A lot of times you get breakfast sandwiches that's soggy in the middle, right?
Yes.
Cheese. The bacon I did earlier, but so it's a little ambient temperature, so what I'm gonna do is just put it back on there. Come back down. Grab my egg, wait for the cheese to come up. And you'll have the time I eat.
You said you could,
there's so many different variables that you can have Versatility, you can actually have.
As you can see now, my bacon's hot.
So that wouldn't be a problem if we had a specific customer that put in it.
You just have to move here.
Like data, but we have
No, I don't want my own.
We'll do it. I would order it.
USB to it, so you can figure it all out at one store, plug it in, and then take it to the other store and plug it in. You wouldn't have to like do two separate things, you're saying.
Like that. It's like.
Well, something similar, we would have to bring in our own yeah, because we don't have to go to Valentine's.
Yes, you'll need a class 1 hood because it's still producing.
Yeah.
Also, Chef, there's some customers that will be viewing on the YouTube channel that were interested in seeing the smash burger again. If you could view that and maybe some chicken, that would be great.
So about 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes total. Egg moist, do whatever, how you want to do your eggs. It's all programmed to what your parameters are, what your specifications are. So we'll do I don't think you were here for the smash burger.
Yeah, they missed that.
Yeah. All right, so we'll do a smash burger. Well, we like to call it a crush burger because what we're doing is all of the effort. It's not more whacking out. We're using compression and the way that the flat to come down and form a shape and a crust on it. You know, in the normal sequence in an operation, it's always burger first, then fries, then maybe bun. In our situation, we're going fries first, because they take the longest in this sequence, then the bun, and then the burger, because you have to rethink a little bit. Right? So what we'll do is in this case, we'll do a kind of our version of a double-double. Right, so our bun's going to go down, and I'm just using or normally you would have a bun toaster or something because the output is so you couldn't keep up with the buns on here, and it's really not the best used product for demo purposes. The buns on there are nice. Toast. So then we're going to go grab our burgers. So I have 2 4-ounce burgers. They start off as a ball. We're using 80/20 ground chuck. And I just kind of work them in so they're a little flat, get them below the inch to start. I'm going to select my program, 4-ounce smash with cheese, 1 to 2, because it's based on how much protein that we put on the grill. The more we put on, we just need a little bit more time. That's going to come down. As I'm waiting, I'm going to get my cheese. We'll put a little bacon on it again. We'll use the bacon we cooked earlier. Ready to go. Once again, I'm focused on making sure that everything I need for the sandwich is set. So I'm looking at my tickets. I'm not working on my back is towards the grill. My face is towards the customer to make sure those tickets are correct. All those little details of customer service. Now the clock comes down. And this is a two-step process. So we use what we call a link gap, we can either link it or not link it. In a link gap, the flat doesn't release, so I can go up and down like the bacon. And this one is not linked, which allows it to come up, apply a process, do a flip, add a cheese, do something to that effect, and then come back down to a prescribed gap. Now, the gap does not have to be the same as the first gap. You can have multiple gaps. So now here's our two patties. I'm going to flip. Release them. Get a nice clean surface. I'm going to apply my cheese. Come back down. While that's doing, I'm going to pull my bun off. Now these are really juicy. One thing we have to do is we always take them off, put them on a rack or something to drain a little bit and let rest. That's part of the programming. Understand how long it takes to go from customer. So 1, 2, we're gonna let that sit off to the side. While that's resting, I'm gonna scrape and squeegee. And you'll notice that there's cheese stuck to the top. Not an issue, comes right off. Down to the grease traps that are located on either side. So there's great, really good grease management system. I'm not always pulling to it. Two things, you've got that small little, on the flat grill, you get that little hole there. Gets all that particulate in there. And it's a safety because I'm pulling grease towards me. We have a nice grease channel with the squeegee. I can really get that off to the side and make sure that I'm, from a safety perspective, burning. I'm doing those things. So that's ready. Grab a bowl. The total cook time for that was those two burgers was 110 seconds. That's what total cook. There's a little bit of time and flip, depending on how fast the operator is. Bun, we'll get a couple ticks, and you can see that the same burger is cooked together. I'll cut that in half first. As that burger comes off, we get a nice medium burgers. So you get those nice color on there. They're both cooked the same. Now, if you're a client and you want to go more or less, that's up to you. So if you want to say, you know what, I need all my burgers 165, all we're going to do is maybe come down on the gap. I like the thickness, but maybe I want to come down a little bit more, give it some more time, and it's going to get to where I want. So you can dial in exactly what temperature you want based on what's comfortable for you, what your local health department says. You want to make sure you get that food safety piece that you're looking for. So that's our version. Now if you want them thinner and crushed even thinner, it's just changing the gap based on what you're looking for and what you press. Like sliders and all those things. You put some sliders in under a minute, 35, 40 seconds, depending on how much you want to do. Chicken the same way. I'm going to cook 2 pieces of chicken. I'm going to cook one on this side and one on this side to show you the 2 different approaches you can do with a chicken burger. One, maybe it's a sandwich. One's more of a center of plate or something thicker that you want to top with. So I have, and the beauty of it is I've got 75, I've got up to 75 programs per zone. So if I have 3 zones, you're up to whatever. Most operators are never going to go that much. We tend to have a lot more because we deal with a lot of different requests. The way we cook eggs, the way we cook pancakes, the breakfast, and all that. So I've got two programs set up, thicker one and a thinner one. So these are just some chicken breasts, IQF chicken breasts that we slacked out. I trimmed them up a little bit. And I just threw some fresh herbs over them the night before and let them sit. Now you'll notice that chicken breasts have that inconsistency of size. So what I want to do is I want to kind of understand that in our programming, because if I'm just doing a sandwich, I don't need it to be as natural looking. You'll hear a lot of people pound out that chicken breast to make sure it's even. So we're going to do two approaches. So I just put some salt because it's really an uneven product. I just put this lean product. I mean, it's very. I'm just going to put some oil on it just to help with the cooking process. So this one is the thicker of the two. I want to put that one on this side, presentation side down. I'm going to set that on. This one's a little bit thinner. And I'm going to set the same thing. I'm going to set it on that side and press that down. So these are both really longer cooked because of the nature of the protein. We don't want to make them chewy, but we want to cook them. We want to get them to one of the big things here with chicken is we want to make sure we're hitting that 165 internal temperature when it comes off the grill. Or in that process of getting to 165 to make sure it's food safe. But we don't want to go too high that we dry it out. A lot of times chicken takes a long time. You're baking in the oven. It pumps up, it gets chewy. I cooked the same breast a little earlier. I'm going to show you what they look like after an hour of sitting and how much moisture they retain. So doing chicken like this, I can batch it earlier in the day or just before service and run 8 to 10 chicken breasts. Bring them off, send them down to the salad station, and now I have great Caesar salad, chicken Caesar salad. Quesadillas we talked about earlier, I can do that at the end of the day. They go in the cooler overnight. When I come in the morning, because we're cooking so much faster, I got a really moist chicken for quesadillas, the sandwiches, or wraps. So I'm doing my prep work as well, not just cooking to order. I'm cooking in batch. I can do caramelized onions and mushrooms and all of those things that we would normally do. So I'm using it 24/7, not just in those peak times. I'm using it as the prep machine as well. If you have catering operations, you need a little dining room, 3 classes, chicken, beef, and fish all at the same time. I got my rice and potatoes. I can cook. One guy, one chef can cook, up to 18, 20 people. Right? So this chicken I'm going to flip. And what I'm going to do is I want it to come down, and I'm now going to hover. I'm just going to hover it so it allows to plump a little bit, bring the juices back in. There's no weight on it, and it's going to relax and plump up a little bit.
Yes, that second stage is already in the settings.
Already set in because that's what I wanted it to do, because that's what I was looking for in a product. Because I'm looking for this, maybe it's sitting on top, slicing and going on top of a salad. Could go on a plate. This one is a little one step, but this one's done. So and what I'm doing, this is for a sandwich. So I got the nice color on there. You can see the moisture on there. We'll look at the temperature on this. You want to make sure. What's it say on the temp on there?
178.
178. So we met the parameters there. Same thing. I'm going to flip that over so I've got a nice look on that chicken. I'll pull this back. Remove some of these things.
Take any time.
So on our 2 chicken breasts, I did one with a single stage, no flip, and one with a double stage, a 2-part cook. So it's the same chicken breast. You can see one's a little bit more plumper, looks a little bit, it's keeping that natural shape. This is uniform across all the way, great for a sandwich application, because I'm gonna get that uniform bite all the way across. So same system, 2 different size, 2 different approaches to that chicken. All right? So I'm gonna let those rest for a little bit longer. I'll slice what I cooked earlier. And like I said, this sat for about an hour and a half. Now I just want to make sure that you can see the moisture. You don't need to eat of it. So. And we'll cook you. I'll cook you the fresh ones to try. But from a moisture standpoint of view, so even after an hour.
That one's had an hour.
That's been an hour and a half. So that's normally if I was doing this for prep, I'm either gonna cook just before service because I know they're gonna go right out to serve warm. If I'm gonna do for a batch, they're gonna come off, they're gonna go on a clean tray, they're gonna go into the cooler, get below 41 in 2 hours or less. Follow the hassle. Now I've got prep chicken, but I can do 6 at a time, or 8 at a time, or 10 at a time. 3 flat, and I can have all my chicken ready to go. I can throw them all down in one shot. Get 8 on each side. That's 24 breasts in about 2.5 minutes. Go the next one on. So in 10 minutes, I can bang out a case of chicken, ready for prep for whatever application. I'm not putting in ovens on G-pans. I'm cooking it. I'm getting nice color, uniform color. And so we'll go with the sandwich one, which looks, always worried about moisture as we skewered it with the meat thermometer. Wanted to bleed all over the place. So we let go of the chicken to rest. So you can see that it really keeps its moisture. It's hot. There's a napkin right there. Don't be dripping all over the nice sweater of yours.
I say that with all of our hers, because I'm sure I dripped on her.
What do you think?
Good, real good.
Right.
Fine moisture in there.
A lot of times, because of the speed that we're cooking, we're keeping all that moisture in because the juices, the albumin, and all that doesn't have an opportunity to be pressed or crushed out or evaporate over long cooking times. We keep that moisture. We keep that really good sense of the product in there.
Explain if they were to marinate something, or how that would vary the cooking procedure.
So marination is a tricky thing in a way. The part that's the difficulty is anything that's based off of a sugar. So if you're buying a lot of pre-made marinades out of a jar where you're using balsamic vinegar, you're dealing with a lot of those carbohydrates or sugars, which, due to the science behind it, at high temperatures, they burn. So my reaction heat, they burn at those things. Caramelization, because we're at 335, 425, what those sugars want to do, they want to burn. So what we do is we'll take our marinades, we can use oil, herbs, fresh garlic, all of those things. So create our flavor that way. Dry seasonings. Avoid those sweet things in the early part of the cooking. And in the end, because we have that good gap and we can cover non-stick sheets, what we might do is at the end of the cooking process, release the flat, baste it with a sweet sauce or barbecue or something or glaze, come back and mimic a broiler, because I got 425 degrees non-stick surface that I can control how high I want to hover about that for how long I want to do it, and create that glaze that you're looking for of a basted or glazed product. And then
We don't right now. We'd like to see it. So we did that one originally. Some sort of pancake. Right. I can't imagine.
I didn't know how to do it.
I love your next job. We'd, yes. It's definitely something that we don't have. Okay, next week then. Plus,
Oh, good.
basically everything about it, and cleaning process would be a biggie.
Chef, without showing, can you just explain the cleaning and how long it takes?
Like what is it all?
Without,
End of the night cleaning.
end of the night cleaning.
Yeah.
Exactly.
okay, fine.
So with our process throughout the day of the scrape and squeegee with the blade and back, you're continuing to keep that product clean throughout the day. What we've designed in the system is a clean mode. So at the end of the shift, we have on each of the zones, there's a clean button. What that does is you hit the clean button, and then you start breaking everything else down. Get rid of your food, clean up your counters, get all the perishable items out of the way. And what we'll do is the unit will bring the bottom flanks down to 335 degrees. It takes a little bit longer for the top if you leave the release sheets on. But what you can do is, once you've cleaned up, what you do is you take the release sheets off. These come off, they're brown and black. So yesterday was black, today was brown. At the end of the day, at the end of the shift, once everything's away, and I know I'm safe, I've got a clean, flat surface. This is table or the counter I'm working off of. I'm gonna pull those off. They're attached with two clips. They come off. And then that's the black side I use, that's the top. Alright, so I'm gonna just put that off to the side for the moment. You keep them, don't wanna run them, you don't wanna scrunch them up, you wanna keep them flat. And you can see as you cook, you'll get this build up on this tin. Okay? That's where the heat source is coming from. Once it's in clean and it beeps, it says ready to clean, we have a non-caustic container with a dispenser on it. You squeeze to get the amount of product you need to portion it out. Simple, so you know you're controlling your cost by just the amount of product. You get a full load. Okay? That comes with it. And then that's applied to the grill. A non-abrasive pad and handle, which we would then lubricate the bottom half, the bottom grill with that, and we scrub it down. And I'm gonna just put a little bit on here, and I'll clean up. So we put a little bit on there. I'm gonna turn the hoods on because of the baby. Sorry, I don't want to remember the smell. So the pad, and then we work it. And then I can get the top surfaces as well. I'll do those a little bit later. Squeegee? Grab my fryer gloves and a rag. Then no buckets of water, no grill brick, no pickle juice, none of that kind of stuff. And then we just
That's what,
start wiping it down with clean water. And then that scrub will get underneath the back sides, you clean all of that off the sides. And then the surface that you cooked on, you'd use the residual. Wipe that down. And then since today was brown, this is the end of the night, I'm going to go to black. Put it in standby mode. I want to make sure that the sheets are nice and even. Nice and even. Pull it nice and tight. And I have a cleaner with
this one.
Hey.
So I guess this side panel just pull.
So these are just straps at the end of the night. You pull them out whenever you want to do them. You don't need to do them every day. You take them out, dump the grease, hold them down with hot soap water. If they fit in the compartment, it's fine. They're universal on either side.
But that's the only.
Compartment, it's fine. They're universal on either side.
But that's the only two traps they collect stuff.
Yep. You don't.